Mousie's Mobs is one of the best creature mods of all time, and for the first time I'm very excited to say that it can be played on both Java and Bedrock. This mod adds 10 fully animated, intelligent mobs to the game, including several boss fights. Speaking of bosses, let's jump straight into it with the Ferrous Wroughtnaught. This dense metal behemoth can be found underground in a small stone chamber. When approached, they'll awaken from their ancient slumber and attack their intruder. Although slow, the Wroughtnaught's huge axe packs a hefty punch, slicing it from side to side, or swinging it so hard it sticks in the floor. If you get too close, it will slam its ironclad foot into the ground, sending a shockwave of blocks into the air. During the fight, all your attacks will glance off the heavily armored figure, doing no damage. The only way to hurt the Wroughtnaught is to strike at its weak spot, the diamond sword sticking out of the crevice in its back. However, your only opportunity to strike will be after it sticks its axe into the ground. Repeat this process a few times and the boss will slump to the ground, collapsing and rewarding you with the wrought helm and axe of 1,000 metals. The helmet provides some armor and never breaks, but the real treasure is the axe. Right-clicking will sweep an area in front of you, leaving any enemies in your path, and shift right-clicking will slam the axe into the ground, creating a shockwave and bringing enemies towards you. Stepping out of the chamber into the nearby caves, you might stumble upon a Grottol, a cute crystal crustacean that lives deep underground. These crabs are prized as a rare source of diamonds, but are very timid and agile, even capable of burrowing into the ground to escape. Their diamond-hard carapace protects them from most damage, excluding projectiles. The only way to damage them with melee is with a pickaxe capable of mining diamond. When slain, although why would you, look how cute they are, they'll drop a singular diamond. There are different texture variants, depending on if they spawn on stone or deep slate, and if attacked with a silk touch pickaxe, they'll become a captured Grottol. Unfortunately, this does not tame them, but you can keep them trapped if you put them somewhere they can't burrow through, like on planks. Grottol has one more secret: it can hop on a minecart to escape. It also has a Blackpink Easter egg if it rides a minecart in a certain pattern. Check the video on my channel later this week if you want to figure out how I created this crazy pattern. I'm very excited to say I'm now a Nord affiliate. Use my links in the description to save 75% off NordPass and NordVPN. We have some more epic boss fights coming up, including an actual sun god, but first we'll take a trip over to the jungle where the plant life is a little more alive than normal. The Foliaath is a ravenous, carnivorous plant that will eat anything that moves. These beasts inhabit dark, dank areas and will snap at anything in their vicinity, making taking them down with melee difficult. If you defeat one, it will drop a Foliaath seed, which you can plant on grass or dirt. Feed the baby Foliaath meat every half day for 2 days to obtain a fully grown Foliaath, but beware, it won't be tamed and will still attack you. Far away on a snowy peak, the hulking Frostmaw slumbers. This dangerous beast will remain passive unless the player happens within 8 blocks of it, in which case the Frostmaw will jolt awake, stuff its ice crystal in its mouth, and let out a bellowing roar. The fight is on. As you might expect, it is a challenging opponent, with its frost breath attack that can leave you completely immobile and vulnerable to a smack from its massive fists. If you find it in an ice spikes biome, make sure to use the spikes to your advantage to dodge the frost. In addition to swiping at you, it can slam the ground, shoot ice balls that instantly freeze you, and let loose a powerful roar that knocks enemies away. It's immune to fall damage, takes 1¼ times damage from fire, is immune to arrows, and jumps away from lava traps. Defeating the Frostmaw grants you its wintry power by means of the ice crystal. You can right-click to channel an icy whirlwind, freezing enemies, except for the Frostmaw of course, that are in your path. However, a fight isn't the only way to obtain the crystal. By using an invisibility potion, you're able to sneak up on the sleeping Frostmaw and grab the crystal right out of its hand. When you do this, the Frostmaw will awaken. If you fight it in this stage, without its crystal, the fight should be a lot easier. However, if you defeat it now, it will only reward experience considering you already got the crystal, unless you defeat it while crystalless and during a snowstorm, in which case you'll be rewarded with the Petiole Music Disc. 2 boss fights remain, including a brand new one with a custom arena, but first, let's relax by taking a trip to the dark forest at nighttime. These dense canopies typically prevent light from reaching the forest floor, but these concerns are alleviated with the addition of the brand new lantern. These passive, ambient, jellyfish-like creatures float tranquilly through the air, leaving particles as they puff along. They drop luminous jelly when slain, which can be consumed for a minute of night vision. Now we'll take a trip over to the savannah, where we can encounter the hallowed Umvuthana Grove. Here you can find a tribe of strange bird-like creatures scuttling around while their massive leader clicks and slaps his big belly on his tall arboreal throne. The smaller creatures are the Abavuthana, the scourge of the savannah. They scorch the earth they tread on and hunt targets with their sharp talons. The packs are led by an Umvuthana raptor, distinguished by their extra long talons they can use to block attacks. When defeated, they'll sometimes drop their masks as items the player can wear, with each mask bestowing a small, different buff. However, it is their chieftain that poses the gravest danger. The Umvuthi is the creator of the Abavuthana and a master of heliomancy, or sun magic. As you fight your way through the horde, he'll rain sunstrikes upon you. If you get too close to him, he'll send you flying with a solar flare, often into the pit of magma, well placed in front of the throne. You can also channel the devastating power of the sun with a crazy laser beam attack, dealing knockback and melting anything in its path, or even drawing in nearby enemies before collapsing into a massive supernova explosion. When low on health, the Umvuthi will spawn 3 Umvuthana cranes that will channel healing energy towards him unless taking him out, becoming invulnerable while being healed. The boss is not immune to arrows, so ranged combat can be a good way to defeat him if you don't get overwhelmed by his minions. When slain, all Abavuthana will disappear, and you will be rewarded with the Soul Visage. With this equipped, you can right-click any mask to summon your own friendly Umvuthana, and the Mask of Faith will spawn cranes that will even heal you. However, this mask does not grant you the Umvuthi's power over the sun. To obtain that, you'll have to rewind back to before the fight began and sneak into the grove undetected, invisibility can help here, and obtain one of the masks. By donning the mask, you'll gain the ability to pass amongst the tribe undetected and even trade with them. Of course, the real treasure lies with the Sunbird. You can exchange 7 blocks of gold for his favor and the sun's blessing. This is an hour-long potion effect that grants you the boss's abilities, with the countdown beginning when you use your first ability. Right-clicking the ground with an empty hand will summon a sunstrike from the heavens, scorching the earth on impact. Sneak left-clicking with an empty hand will send surrounding enemies flying. You'll also gain his more powerful abilities. By sneak right-clicking, you can channel the solar laser beam for yourself at the cost of 5 minutes of blessing. Finally, in the most desperate situations, you can channel the entire duration of the blessing by sneaking and simultaneously left and right-clicking to go supernova. You can replenish the blessing at any time for free while trading with him and wearing a mask. As we traverse a mountainous beach on our way to our final and the newest mob that's added, we hear a sharp screech from above and look up to see a swarm of winged serpents. The Naga have impressive speed and deadly poison, which they use to great effect. The drakes are surprisingly nimble and will dart out of the way of incoming arrows. They can rear back and spit a nasty green glob at their target, poisoning it on contact. They can also cry out before charging the target with a spinning dive attack. However, they do have some openings. Right before it charges or spits poison, you can let loose an arrow, knocking the Naga from the sky. When it lands and takes fall damage, it'll be stunned for a few seconds and vulnerable to attacks before jumping back up into flight. You can also use the new Spear item to knock them out of their charge before damaging you if you time it right. Spear also has a 30% chance to instantly kill animals under 30 health. When the Naga is slain, they'll drop their deadly fangs, which have a few uses. You can brew a potion of poison resistance, making it easier to fight Naga and witches. You can craft a Naga Fang Dagger, a melee weapon that inflicts poison and deals double damage if you land a sneaky attack on an opponent's backside. Or you can craft darts and fire them from a blowgun, a short-range weapon you can use to inflict poison. At long last, we reach the end of our travels at the foot of the newest structure added by the mod, the Monastery. Once a hallowed bastion of prayer and self-defense, the modern monastery is dilapidated and abandoned by the ancient Earthrend monks that used to walk the stony halls. However, these halls are not empty. Elemental bluffs were drawn to the traces of magic that linger, infesting the structure. These small creatures are surprisingly powerful, commanding earth magic to create fissures in the ground, ending in a punch of blocks upwards from the ground, dealing damage and knockback. When defeated, they'll drop bluff rods, which are used to repair geomancy items. As you make your way through the tight labyrinthine halls, you might find the Geomancer's staff and armor set in chests throughout. The armor pieces grant you small buffs such as increased punching damage, spawning geomancy boulders nearby, and most importantly, looking fantastic. The Geomancer staffs spawn small 3 blocks on right click that will fly in the direction you aim, dealing damage. Eventually, you'll enter out into an open courtyard decorated with raked sand, which you can make yourself with the new sand rake, where you'll find Tongbi, the Sculptor. The last remaining Earthrend monk, Tongbi is a master of geomancy and poses a unique challenge. You need to defeat him not in combat, but in parkour. To begin this test, give him a bluff rod. He will slam his staff into the ground and rise into the air on a stone pillar, and blocks of stone and dirt will spawn in the air around it. This is no test of PvP, this is a test of parkour, and much like in Parkour Civilization, your life can depend on it. This is a challenging course that will self-destruct if you break or place blocks, go too far away, fly, or fall too far down. However, using a jump boost potion effect is permitted and, depending on your skill level, highly recommended. As you get higher up the challenge, you'll encounter dirt blocks which temporarily disappear upon stepping on them. After finally completing the grueling challenge, falling a few times along the way and taking an embarrassingly long time to complete, you can interact with the sculptor at the top, he will begin clapping, the tower will descend, and the parkour challenge will vanish. After reaching the bottom, you'll create the gauntlet out of the ground, throw the new Earthrend gauntlet at you, and vanish into a breeze of cherry blossoms, leaving you to your newfound power. The Earthrend gauntlet grants you the power of geomancy. Right-click the ground to create a boulder and punch it to send it hurtling away. You can hold right-click for 1 to 4 seconds to create progressively larger and larger boulders. You can even ride the largest boulder as it flies. If you jump while sneaking, you'll rise up on a pillar of earth. The pillar's width will increase as it rises through geomancy boulders. The pillar will disappear after a short while. The gauntlet's left click functions as a pickaxe, but perhaps the coolest feature shows up when you right click the air and begin to tunnel through the ground. You'll move in the direction you look, and when you release or run out of charge, you'll be spit back up into the air, with the destroyed blocks filling back in behind you. The gauntlet's durability will naturally recharge over time, and it can also be used as a way to avoid fall damage. And that's all we have for today, but make sure to subscribe and stick around for the video later this week where I show you how I figured out this crazy complicated Grottol Easter egg. Thanks for watching, we'll see y'all next time, peace out everybody.